towering symbol of progress on the seas. Historically, the military and the LGBTQ plus community have been at odds, but take a look at how far we have come. This is the view from our chopper at the USNS Harvey Milk, arriving under the Golden Gate Bridge. The ship is honoring Milk, who served in the U.S. military long before his brief but lasting legacy in San Francisco politics. The military says this is the first U.S. Navy ship ever to be named after somebody who was openly gay. The ship will dock here for one day only.
And it's quite the scene and quite an impressive ship. The USNS Harvey Milk is a massive ship spanning 746 feet. It was officially named during a ceremony in San Francisco. This happened back in August of 2016 and was officially christened back in 2021. You can see members of the crew now standing on top of the ship right there as it's about to make its way through the Golden Gate Bridge. The ship is one of 20 oilers used to move fuel and cargo to U.S. Navy carrier strike groups and other surface forces. Once in the San Francisco Bay, it will be docked at Piers 30 and 32, and you'll be able to see it right there from along the Embarcadero.
And we are going to watch it go under the Golden Gate Bridge. Really a momentous time. Tomorrow, the Harvey Milk is going to take part in an event honoring Vietnam War veterans. The Department of Defense will present official lapel pins to San Francisco Bay Area veterans who served in the Vietnam War. And Kelsey Thorid rode out on a police escort boat to get a close look at the ship coming in. Kelsey, how's it been out there?
Hey guys, yeah, we're out on an SFPD Marine boat right now watching the USNS Harvey Milk come in, and it's just about to pass us here. We're on the seaside of the Golden Gate Bridge. The ship is coming in. As you guys said, this is a ship that's close to 750 feet long. It's going to be coming in here, docking for just a day for that veteran celebration. But this is a ship that is used as a sort of refueling ship for other ships around the world. So what this ship does is it goes around and it'll fuel different ships. It'll restock food, that kind of thing. But you can see just how massive this ship is coming into port right now. Just down a ways from where we are, Rick, if you want to pan to your left, the fire boat is shooting up the water right now to welcome in this ship. But guys, this is a sight to see. I mean, we're only, I would say, a few hundred feet from this ship right now as it's going by us. You can see some of the crew on board. Really just a very impressive naval ship. And as you said, this is the first ship that's named after an openly gay person.
All right, it looks like we lost...
of ships that are all named after civil rights leaders. So this is just one of several ships that are named after very influential civil rights leaders. Harvey Milk, of course, having such an impact on the community here in San Francisco as well as across the world when it comes to LGBT rights. And to see a ship like this named after such an icon of the city here is just something that everyone in this city is proud to see. It looks like we're actually moving now, so we're keeping up with the ship's pace. This ship is going pretty quick, guys. So we're expecting it to be docked in port in the next couple of hours. So it looks like it's just getting closer to going under the bridge here.
And Kelsey, I don't know if you can hear me right now.
Yeah,
I can hear the motor speeding up there. It's interesting when we take that live look from our chopper and we see your boat next to the Harvey Milk boat in the ship. You look so tiny, just riding alongside of it. Just talk about the size and enormity of this vessel.
Yeah, I mean, we're on a boat that's probably 20 feet long. So yeah, compared to this ship, we're nothing. As you guys said, this ship is 750 feet long. It is massive. It has all of these gears on it, which are kind of big fueling pumps. so that they can fuel other ships out on the water. It's actually really impressive what this ship is capable of doing. What they do is they go right up alongside big, naval ships, and they can refuel the ship while the ship is moving. So really what it does is it allows military ships to continue on their deployment, continue on whatever their mission is without having to go into any port and refuel and restock supplies. So these ships are so crucial for what the Navy does and what our military does around the world. And yeah, just seeing it go under the Golden Gate Bridge now, it's an impressive sight. The bridge even doesn't look that big compared to this ship. It is just a massive ship, Ryan.
Yeah, and I just want to mention the gravity of this moment. The first Navy ship named after an openly gay person coming under the Golden Gate Bridge. We all know the Bay Area, San Francisco, has got quite a history when it comes to pride and allowing people to be themselves. And to have this ship and the relationship with the military, to see it all come together, because that has evolved so much. I did a lot of coverage on people who were discharged from the military because of their homosexuality, and it has been a very bitter relationship between the LGBTQ community and the military for a long time. But this moment, what you're watching right now, seeing this ship coming under the Golden Gate Bridge and into the throes of the Bay Area, it's really poignant.
Yeah, and a lot of people probably don't know that Harvey Milk actually served in the United States Navy. He served during the Korean War, served aboard the USS Kittiwake. That is a submarine rescue ship earning the rank of junior grade lieutenant, but was forced to accept an other than honorable discharge because of his homosexuality. So, as you can imagine, this is now just a very historic and poignant moment in U.S. naval history.
Yeah, and I do want to also point out that the Navy actually still has him listed as being an honorable discharge. But other records and his family has disputed that he was basically forced to resign from the Navy after being found in a park with other homosexual men. So he was discharged regardless. It's a matter of records now, how honorable or less than. But at this point, everything is changing. And this is a symbol of that changing relationship, the changing of the times, and the ability for people to openly be themselves.
But despite that discharge, his work as an activist, as a leader, was recognized in 2009. He was honored by President Barack Obama, awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom posthumously. And we all remember, he was an activist. He was an openly gay man, the first to be elected to public office in California, to the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. He was only as a supervisor for 11 months because he was quite tragically assassinated by Dan White, who was a disgruntled former city supervisor who also shot and killed Mayor George Moscone in November of 1978. But Harvey Milk became a legend and an icon, and even in his death, he became a martyr and quite the figure here in San Francisco.
Yes, absolutely. And again, we're watching live this Navy ship, the USNS Harvey Milk, coming into port in San Francisco for the first time, where San Francisco, where its namesake made his name and was an icon worldwide from what he did in San Francisco and the movement that put forth. So the ship coming into the San Francisco Bay for the first time, and tomorrow, from what we understand, it is going to be on its way to Gaza. It is going to be bringing supplies to other Navy ships in that area. And not only, as Kelsey talked about, is it capable of bringing fuel and refueling ships on the water, but it also does bring in water, food, and other supplies. So no word exactly, the military, tight-lipped, on exactly what its mission is going to be. But after the day that it's docked here in the Bay at Piers 30 and 32, it is said to be headed then to a mission in Gaza.
And we talked about the enormity of the size of that ship. It has a crew of about 125, can reach 20 knots. Maybe that's why Kelsey's boat had to speed up there just to catch up with the ship as it was making its way underneath the Golden Gate Bridge. It can carry up to 162,000 barrels of fuel oil or aviation fuel, has more than 55,000 cubic feet of dry cargo space, more than 40,000 cubic feet a refrigerated cargo space. And while this is mostly a transport and cargo ship, as Ann just mentioned, as it's headed to the Middle East to support the efforts happening in Gaza, either with Israel or between the war between Israel and Gaza and Hamas, it does carry equipment for electronic warfare, countermeasures. It's also equipped with torpedoes and multiple .50 caliber machine guns.
So according to the U.S. Navy, this is the little bit of the military history we were talking about earlier, Harvey Milk's history in the Navy. He joined it back in the 50s. He served during the Korean War, and he was a diving instructor. Later, the Navy, again, says that he received an honorable discharge, but that has been highly disputed by his own accounts and other records that we've seen. Our Max Darrow is going to look now at a little bit about Harvey Milk's history and the history of homosexuality in the military. We're going to go to that report in a little while. But I think in the meantime, we're going to continue to watch this ship, the USNS Harvey Milk, making its way into the Bay Area. Again, as we look at other photos of Harvey Milk over time, this is just another huge moment in his legacy and really for the LGBTQ rights movement across the country and how it has all come so far in just even the past decade. Let's get a look at the history here from our Max Darrow.
Mementos from a major part of Michael Higgins' life are in this box.
Oh, heavy box.
Photos bring back memories of his time in high school.
Jesus, that's me.
At military academy.
I got straight A's.
And then memories of his time serving the country.
There's the Berlin Brigade Band.
The U.S. Army veteran was stationed in Berlin in 1988, and he was proud to be there.
It was me. I loved it.
But that chapter of his life came to an abrupt halt after a year and a half, when he received a general discharge under honorable conditions.
You see on the very bottom here?
Punctuated by these words.
Admission of homosexuality/bisexuality.
On his DD-214.
And then I was kicked out for being gay.
At that point in history, military policy explicitly banned gay people from serving.
I was actually read my Miranda rights in Berlin, Germany, for being gay. Think about that. I was getting death threats from the guys that were willing to save my life the day before they found out I was getting kicked out for being gay.
Higgins wasn't the first and certainly wasn't the last service member to have this experience. 3 years later, President Bill Clinton announced Don't Ask, Don't Tell, hoping to find compromise in the fight over the military's ban on gays and lesbians.
It is not a perfect solution. It is not identical with some of my own goals, and it certainly will not please everyone, perhaps not anyone.
That it didn't. Don't ask, don't tell, won't work. It was met with protests and legal challenges from the get-go. James Zarza-Diaz is an associate professor of history at the University of San Francisco.
The whole point of Don't Ask, Don't Tell was, we're not going to ask you, but if you volunteer that information or if you're caught, then you're in trouble. And it kind of created this whole kind of culture of stigma and taboo and fear. And that's why it was very controversial then and now.
But it was the country's policy for 17 years.
Our people sacrifice a lot for their country.
Until 2010.
Including their lives.
When the Senate repealed it.
None of them should have to sacrifice their integrity as well.
And President Barack Obama inked it.
This is done.
Allowing gay, lesbian, and bisexual troops to serve openly.
When the repeal occurred, it was this big sigh of relief after, again, generations of trying to move the needle, especially in the military, an institution that is arguably much more conservative than others.
Then in 2021, President Biden overturned the Trump administration's ban on transgender people from serving in the military.
What I'm doing is enabling all qualified Americans to serve their country in uniform.
Now you have the commander-in-chief recognizing people who identify as transgender.
This is for real East German money.
A lot has changed since Higgins' duty came to a sudden and unceremonious end.
It's an exponential difference is what it is, and in a positive direction. This is a military that has gone from it's illegal to be gay, period, and now we're naming one of our naval ships, after Harvey Milk.
And the change of tides has allowed him to rewrite a part of his history.
There's a big void on it.
In 2022, Higgins received new discharge papers inked with the word honorable.
I was happy. It's the way it should be, because I did serve this country honorably. I didn't do anything wrong.
Big picture, he says more can still be done.
There's always room for improvement, right? Yeah. And again, that's going to be through education. We got to educate, and we should be all treated with respect and dignity, and that's really what it's about.
But he's grateful to see how much has changed since his days as a young man in uniform.
And of course, we thank him for his service, as we thank all veterans for their service. In fact, tomorrow, when they hold a ceremony to honor the ship here, the Harvey Milk, they're also going to be holding a ceremony to honor all Vietnam veterans. Mm-hmm. And that is something that is long overdue as well. So that is going to happen tomorrow on Vietnam Veterans Day. That is before this ship that's going to be in the bay overnight heads to its next mission, which is going to be in Gaza.
So let's take you back just a few moments ago, that moment when the USNS Harvey Milk made its way underneath the Golden Gate Bridge. We have that video. That was the momentous occasion as it was out to sea and making its way into the San Francisco Bay, making its way underneath the Golden Gate Bridge. And a lot of people were probably wondering why it was named after Harvey Milk. Well, the class of ships named for prominent civil rights leaders. That includes Congressman John Lewis, which is the lead ship. Others include Milk, Supreme Court Chief Justice Earl Warren, Robert F. Kennedy. Future names will also include Lucy Stone, Sojourner Truth, Thurgood Marshall, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and Harriet Tubman.
Yeah. So very cool. Mm-hmm. And it's so nice that Harvey Milk was one of the first to be named, to be commissioned. She was down in San Diego for some time. And to me, this feels like a homecoming.
Yes.
To be the ship named after
Absolutely.
Harvey Milk in the San Francisco Bay. It is certainly a special moment.
And riding alongside of the USNS Harvey Milk is our very own Kelsey Thorpe and one of the police boat escorts. And Kelsey, I don't know if you can hear us, but what was that moment like when the ship passed underneath the Golden Gate?
Hey guys, yeah, I can hear you. It was amazing. It was amazing to see the ship pass under. You know, it's a sunny day out here in San Francisco. So when we passed under the bridge, you know, you're in that shadow of the bridge as you pass through, and just, you know, again, talking about how massive this ship is, just seeing the shadow kind of trail over the top of the ship as it passed under the bridge. It almost, like I said earlier, made the bridge seem small. That's how big this ship is. But we're now in the bay, making our way towards the pier. We're just now getting close to downtown. It looks like the Palace of Fine Arts is on the other side of where that fire ship is. So we're making good time out here, and it's just an amazing sight. Rick and I are lucky. We have a really good view of this. We're traveling alongside this ship as it makes its way in, and it's just beautiful. And the weather really worked out for us, Ryan and Ann, and it couldn't have been a better experience just to see this ship come in, knowing the history of Harvey Milk in this city, and then seeing this ship named after him come into port with all of the, you know, parade of other boats around it. I saw a Coast Guard helicopter was flying next to it. We, of course, are with SFPD, and then the fire department is on the other side. So this ship is getting a very warm welcome into San Francisco, as it deserves, guys.
Yeah, that is really beautiful. But Kelsey, I do got to ask, when you're out there on the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge, was that boat rocking and rolling, or what? Are you seasick?
Well, you know, the good thing is that it actually wasn't that rough out today. You know, I think it's not super windy, and the weather is really working out for us. So it was definitely choppier out there than it is here in the bay, but it wasn't as bad as I've seen before out there for sure. So we've lucked out on that. I don't think Rick's seasick. I'm not seasick, so we're doing good so far. But we still got a bit because we're following this thing all the way in. Yeah, so we're going to be out here for at least a couple more hours.
Yeah, definitely good timing on the weather because we know that the second wave of that storm is about to head through the San Francisco Bay, and I know they're having those ceremonies tomorrow, and the weather actually might impact that ceremony tomorrow. But the ship, as we get another live look at the USNS Harvey Milk, it will be docked at piers 30 and 32. It made its way underneath the Golden Gate Bridge, but then it will also make its way underneath the Bay Bridge, where it will dock along the Embarcadero. If you're wondering where that is, that's near Red's Java House.
Yes,
so
just south of the Bay Bridge.
So just grab a cup of coffee or grab one of those sourdough burgers, and then you can just kind of view the USNS Harvey Milk from the distance.
Yeah, you can go there and see it from the Embarcadero. We do want to point out, though, that the ceremonies tomorrow are not public ceremonies.
Yes.
We're going to televise as much as we can, and we're going to be on top of this as the ship heads back out to sea tomorrow. But those are not public ceremonies, so watch it from TV, watch it from the Embarcadero. But yes.
Yeah, it's slowly making its way right through the San Francisco Bay. It looks like it's about to cross past Crissy Field, and looks like it's right by Aquatic Park right now. But it was going pretty fast as it made its way underneath the bridge, but slowing down right now. It's now in the San Francisco Bay. It has to deal with other types of boat traffic, and I'm sure there's a bar pilot on board too, also helping to steer that safely into the San Francisco Bay underneath the Bay Bridge, and of course, docking at piers 30 and 32.
Yeah, with its escorts from the Coast Guard and the San Francisco Fire Department and Police Department. Well, thanks for joining us today for a special coverage of the historic visit of the USNS Harvey Milk.
Yeah, tomorrow, once again, the Navy will hold a ceremony officially welcoming the ship and commemorating its namesake. We'll bring that to you live starting at 11 a.m. And we'll have much more on its arrival on our next newscast coming up at 3 o'clock and later on during the evening editions. For now, the news continues streaming right here on CBS News Bay Area. We leave you with this shot of the USNS Harvey Milk.